Welcome to this week's Whiskey Burn. My name's Jay and this is my Whiskey Den. This week it's the battle of the Tamnavulin. I've picked two Tamnavulins and basically we're going to have a face-off. And there is good reason for it. Chatting to one of my friends and I said to them, God, Tamnavulin, for example, not just Tamnavulin, for example, have lots of different variations of whiskey. So red wine cask, white wine cask, double cask, etc, etc. And some of them have lots of variations. Now, I know that a lot of them do it because we want to just enhance the taste of our whiskey. I think you might agree, it's predominantly down to this, money. So, what I thought was, well, why don't we do a taste-off? See which one is different. So I've got here the Tamnavulin Speyside single malt, double cask, American oak and sherry cask finish. Let's read. I'll show you the bottle first. Yes, there is only a bit gone on that. Only a bit. Okay, Speyside single malt, blah, blah, blah. Double cask matured for classic Speyside. Rich, smooth and mellow. The distillery at Tamnavulin was open, blah, blah, blah. Okay, where's the tasting notes on this? Hints of sweet toffee, honey, marzipan on the nose with refreshing pineapple, pear and subtle citrus notes on the palate. Okay, subtle citrus notes of pineapple on the palate. So, this one is the Tamnavulin red wine cask, French Cabernet Sauvignon cask finish. You can see there's a lot more air in that. So, it's, some people say it's not a fair taste test. Da, da, da. Remember, all these are down to your own opinion. So, I might really like this one. There's a white wine cask, I know. I'm pretty sure there's a port cask. They all look relatively similar, different colours, as you can see. I quite like that. I quite like the look of them. I think they look quite smart with their little bit at the top. I quite like them. I quite like those. I think they're quite nice, quite smart, quite sort of modern, post-modern. I did a dissertation on that. Can you believe? So this one is the red wine cask edition. So it says tawny gold in colour, aromatic, offers enhancing aromas of orchard fruits, poached pear and almonds, warm nectarine flavours with subtle notes of damson plums and gingerbread on the palate. So, according to their tasting notes, this should be more citrusy with your pineapples and citrus. What was it? Pineapple, marzipan, toffee. So out of these two, my gut instinct would be this one, which is the double cask. Just thought I'd tell you before we go on, I've got a plug socket here. I have no idea how that got there or why that's there. Anyway, just noticed that. The winner of these two will go through to the next round where they will face off against another Tamnavulin, etc, etc. It's a bit of fun. Next week, though, I've got two jurors that are going to face off against each other. So make sure you join me next week for that. So going back to these two, I like to divert. Going back to these two, basically, if you just read to me what the tasting notes were, I would be screaming Tamnavulin. Double cask. They're both Tamnavulin. But double cask, I'll be screaming this one. I think the toffee, the honey, the marzipan with some pineapple pear. I'd love to get a taste of that one. So, to make it fair, I'm going to pour, and then let them breathe for a bit, do a bit of tasting notes. Just a wee dram, as they say. Oh, I can smell that. Okay. Right then, let's see what the difference is colour-wise. So the double cask is here, and the red wine cask is here. I was expecting the red wine to be a bit more, I won't say rougey, but have a different sort of colour to it. They both look exactly the same. So, and it's been in sherry, so maybe that's why. You look at the colour of the label and instantly it can reflect on the colour of the liquid in a way of like deceiving your eyes, basically. So this one's obviously got a brown label, makes it maybe make your eyes think it's more brown. This got a deep red label, for obvious reasons, for the red wine cask. It's not really. So looking at them both, if I did a taste test without knowing, I'd have to go on palate. There's no difference really in the look. So, double cask. I'm expecting sweetness, honey, toffee, marzipan. And I am getting a bit of sweetness. It's actually quite nice. I did a taste testing on the Tamnavulin and it wasn't good. I really like the Tamnavulin range. I think the white wine is probably my favourite, but whoever wins out of these two will take on the white wine further down the line. So on that, I am getting some sweet. I'm getting subtle toffee. A bit of honey. Remember what Ron Welsh always said, the master distiller? Give it 20 minutes. I can't give it 20 minutes. Okay, so I'm getting some light sweetness on that. I've never got marzipan. I'm looking forward to the citrus side of it. So this one, slightly different. We are expecting on the nose some orchard fruits, poached pear and almonds. So, different taste, very different taste, very different smell. Yeah, I'm getting the fruit, subtle, it's like really calm, but it's nice. It's like that nice subtlety. I like it. That smells really good. So far, I'm getting roughly what they both say. Gonna give them a little bit of airing again. Go back to this one now. It's had a bit of air. I know it's only a minute, but well, that's definitely changed. Now, I wouldn't have said it was more sweeter. I feel like I'm getting the sherry, because this one's double cask, American oak and sherry cask. I would say I'm getting more sherry in this one. It's nice. Do not get me wrong. I like that. Yeah. I think with these Tamnavulins, I think airing them is probably a good way forward. Bit of air on this one. And also, like I say, it's an extra minute, but subtle, very subtle flavour on the nose there of sweetness, honey. I'm definitely not getting marzipan. I would love to know if anyone's had marzipan, sort of a smell from their whiskey. Comment below and let me know if you have. It's nice though. It's nice. They're both quite subtle, but giving a bit of air. The double cask one, definitely the sherry notes. Absolutely. Quite strong. Forgot to mention here, 40%. And you'll be surprised. Oi, where is it? 40%. So 40-40, so they're equal alcohol strengths, because the alcohol strength can change the nose, the taste of your whiskey. Okay, so this is nearest double cask. Just to remind us all, what are we expecting? Some refreshing pineapple, pear and subtle citrus notes. Pineapple, pear and subtle citrus notes. Here's hope so. Ooh. That's nice. It's medium to long finish. The little woo 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 bit that I got there was right on the tip of the tongue. Nothing on the lips, back of the throat. It's a warm whiskey. And I reckon you get that from the sherry influence in this. Yeah. I'm not getting the bang citrus. So maybe the tip of the tongue, I was. It's nice, but I'm not getting any citrus. I'm not getting the pineapple or the orchard pear. If anything, I'm getting more of the sherry hit, which is obviously the influence of the sherry cask there. So, there we have that. I probably should have some water, but I don't have water. Let's crack on. I have one of those pallets. So, just to remind ourselves, the red wine cask, what should we expect in here? Based on that, and the sherry kick I got from that in the palate and in the mouth, palate and the nose, I reckon I might get some red wine influence on this. nectarine flavours, damson plums, gingerbread. Damson plums and gingerbread. Damson, I would say that's quite plum. But again, I'm getting the red wine cask in this, so not as warm as that. Ooh, that's tough. So I would say in both of these, I'd say the cask influences what it tastes like. So I get the fact that this is saying sweet, etc. But you've got the sherry cask in there. The American oak cask, I think, adds sweetness to it. But you've also got the sherry oak cask, the sherry cask, sorry, that really does, I feel like, almost takes over the drink. The red wine cask influence one, yeah, I am getting hints of the red wine, but I'd say I'm getting more of the plums, more like orchard fruit. Ooh. Right at the back of the throat, it's like this mini little explosion of fruit. Must be the plums. Very nice. But what I'm going to do is my ultimate test. Bit of ice. So we'll put them in there. Give them a good swirl round. Cool them down. They'll just calm the whiskey. So I've got to pick a winner out of these two. Currently, I'm not sure. Okay, here we go. So, just to remind us once more, on the nose, it's all about the sweetness, honey and marzipan. Tasting is citrus and pineapple and pear. Getting a bit more sweetness in the smell. Yeah, I'm getting more of the sort of citrus notes with the ice though. So this one is more citrusy with the ice. Let's pop that down. Don't want this one to melt too much. Okay, just quick reminder again, what we're expecting from this. Orchard fruits on the nose, poached pear and almonds, with nectarine flavours and damson plums. So we're expecting lots of sort of fruits in this. Sort of fresh air, kind of orchard in the smell. The ice has definitely changed that. Very calm, very smooth, very short finish, and just sort of little explosions of fruit, which is really nice. Both a lot smoother with the ice, but you'd expect that because it would water it down and cool it down. So let's go back. On the nose, they were both quite heavy smelling, sort of almost what you'd expect, slightly with a more alcohol. Higher alcohol percentage. So with these two, red wine and the double cask, I was getting a lot of the sherry out of this. I was getting quite a bit of what I thought was like the red wine, but I think it might have been the plums. That was on the palate, on the nose, sorry. Nose with ice, this was definitely sweeter and this was definitely fruitier. So the ice for me changed the smell and made it more what they were expecting me to get. Now this is just my opinion, remember. But that's what's so good about whiskey, is it's all your opinion. Okay, tasting this, the double cask, which is American oak and sherry cask, I felt was very sherry heavy. This one, again, it was slightly red wine influenced in the sense that I could taste more of the red wine, but I felt as though I was getting more of the plums, which is partly what they said. So one last little... It's very, 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 very smooth. If you want to get into a Tamnavulin, but you're not sure which one, the red wine cask with a bit of ice, really smooth, and you get the fruits in that. The Tamnavulin double cask, American oak and sherry cask. Slightly heavier, and I'd say it's more sherry influenced. I'm getting a bit of the sweetness, but not in the kind of typical sweet I would expect from like a Glenlivet. But there we have it. Tamnavulin v Tamnavulin. The winner for me is the red wine cask. I think it just had that little edge. It gave me more of what they were saying on the bottle. I think the tasting note, especially with the ice, I think were just that little bit better. Yeah. So for me, the Tamnavulin red wine cask, it's the French Cabernet Sauvignon, made it for me. So there we go. That one's out. In a few weeks' time, I will do the red wine versus the white wine cask. But next week, it's all about the Jura. And it's Jura v Jura. I'm going to have a Glenlivet v Glenlivet. And then what I might do is do a rum cask v rum cask. Tell me and comment below whether you like this, you think it's a nice idea, or whether you think you'd rather hear other things like just tastings, or whether you'd like to hear anecdotes, or whether you'd like to hear other things that are whiskey related. Comment below, like the video, and that's it for me this week. So from the loser, double cask Tamnavulin, enjoy your whiskey. Slauncher.